Hey there, this is Amy from the Irresistible You podcast and Irresistible University, where I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size or weight. Welcome back, guys. This is another video in my plus size pregnancy series that I've been doing here on YouTube. And I actually have not done one of these in a very long time. And that was not my intention. My intention was to record and do so many more videos, but there's been so much going on with the pregnancy, with my personal life, with my business, that all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I turned 36 weeks yesterday and I have not done one of these updates in a really, really long time. So that's what we're going to do today. Is I am just going to update you on how things are going, specifically how things have been going for me in the third trimester, because I am just a couple weeks away from delivering my baby, and I cannot believe it. It's so crazy to me. So I don't even think I did a second trimester update. Oh my gosh. So, normally what they say, and I experienced this with my daughter, is in the second trimester, you start to get your energy back, you start to feel better. And I didn't really have that experience this time around. I was so fatigued, so tired, just kind of feeling low and down a lot of my second trimester, to be honest with you. And in the second trimester, we also moved. We bought a new house and we moved. And, when you move, as you know, when you've moved before, your life is kind of just like up in the air. Things are packed away. You're not in your normal routine. And then we had things that we were doing in the house that we wanted to update and change. And so for a couple of months, things were just kind of crazy. And there was a lot of furniture and such that we had to order that we needed for the new house that we didn't have before. And we had to wait. Like, there's still furniture. It's October. We moved in June. Okay. There is still furniture that has not arrived that we ordered in June. And all of this is thanks to COVID and the pandemic, and things are behind, and, supplies are limited and things like that. So, while I was grateful and happy, and we love our new home, and we're basically almost all the way settled. I don't feel like we're completely settled in yet. There's still things that we want to do, and there's still boxes over here in my office that had not been unpacked. For the most part, we're settled. We've kind of found our groove, and we're still waiting for some things to arrive, and that's okay. And I'm sharing that because it just kind of that kind of took my, not that it took me away from the pregnancy, because you can't escape it, but it definitely made things a lot more challenging, I would say, over the summer. And I did take time. Like, we moved to a home that has a swimming pool, which my husband and I have always wanted. It's always been a dream of ours. And I took time this summer to, end my days early, to go, enjoy time outside with my daughter in the pool. And quite frankly, thank God that we did that, because getting in the water literally was like the only thing that made me feel like a normal human being. Because when you're pregnant and you go in the water, it's like it takes all the pressure off of your body. There's not as much resistance, and it's really good exercise, and it just feels really good. So that was actually really great to be able to have that over the summer, and now it's closed and I'm so sad. So yeah, it's the middle of October as the time that I'm recording this, and my baby will be here in 2 weeks, and I'm going to talk about that because he is coming a little bit earlier than we anticipated. I knew in my heart he was going to be here in October, but it's now official that this is what's happening. So I'm going to talk about that as well. So second trimester for me was a little rough. It was very tiring. I had a lot of fatigue, and I also was struggling a lot with my depression and anxiety during that time. I've always been very open about my depression and anxiety and my journey with that. And when I got pregnant, I normally take medication called Wellbutrin to help me with my mood. And you can take it while pregnant, but there can possibly be side effects to the baby's heart And that's just not something I'm willing to do. So I did come off of my medication. And I think just a combination of that, you know, pregnancy hormones, going through the move, feeling overwhelmed, being pregnant in a pandemic, which has been really hard. I did a video on that. You can go back and watch it. All of those things combined, I just kind of started finding myself kind of going backwards a little bit in my depression, and finding myself as I would put my daughter down to sleep at night. Well, my husband at the time was working night, so he wasn't here. That was another layer to this, right? Like being here by myself, taking care of a 3-year-old and a dog, in a new house, and my husband's working at night. It was really hard. And, you know, I was finding myself as I would put her down to sleep, I would stay in bed and I would lay there for like 2 hours, and that's not me. I usually am up, out. I'm like, cool, now I got time to do stuff, catch up on work, catch up on things around the house. And I wasn't doing that. And so I did mention this to my doctor. I was like, I don't feel like I'm as active as I normally would be. I'm fine. I can see myself slipping backwards a little bit, and I don't want to go back to that dark place. I don't want to go there. So I started seeing a therapist again, which has been amazing. I tell everybody I'm pro therapy all day long. I think it should be required of every single human being. I think everyone should have this person, this objective person that they can go to and talk to and share and take the burden off of them. I just think, you know, pregnant or not, whatever it is, you know, even if you don't feel depressed, I think therapy is just, it's therapeutic. I mean, right? It's amazing. And so I've been doing that. And then right around the time that I entered the 3rd trimester, which is usually the opposite for people, I started feeling more energetic again. I remember it was like the first day of the 3rd trimester, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel like myself again. And this was before the therapy, before, you know, anything like that. So it's been very interesting, and every pregnancy is different. Obviously, I've had moments in the 3rd trimester that are exhausting. You're carrying a baby, you're almost at full term. Let's just talk about some of those symptoms then. So I have had so much pressure down below, to where when I stand up, it feels like I'm carrying like a bowling ball. It feels like, just the only way I can describe it is like there's a lot of pressure going on down there, in my lower abdomen and lower lady parts. And it's, you know, sometimes I can barely stand up straight because there's a lot of pressure. The more I start walking, it starts to go away. There's that. And then there's what they call lightning crotch, which that's really fun, where you get like these little zings of pain where it's just, you know, everything down there moving and contracting and growing. So I've definitely been feeling that a lot more. And as you can hear, I'm still out of breath. I'm still struggling to talk for long periods of time without sounding like I'm running a marathon. That is normal. It will go away once this baby gets out. I do notice it's not as bad. And I noticed about 2 weeks ago that my stomach was starting to move down a lot more. And when that happens, as the baby is shifting downwards, it takes some of that pressure off of your diaphragm. So I have noticed that a little bit. But as you can tell, I'm still very winded, and it's quite annoying, actually. So I'm going to drink some water. So there's that, a lot of heartburn. I've been like taking Tums everywhere with me that I go. And there's it's definitely more heartburn than I had with Catalina. And there's this old wives' tale that says if you have extreme heartburn, it's because your baby has a lot of hair. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what the correlation is that someone made back in the day. But let me tell you, every single ultrasound that I've had, the ultrasound techs are like raving about how much hair our son has. Like you can literally see it on the ultrasound moving around, and like there's so much hair on his head, which I hope that's true. I hope that's true. Hopefully he got my husband's good hair. I think between the two of us, my husband definitely has the better hair. He has very thick, nice hair. So I'm hoping my son inherits that from him. But I don't know if that's true, but there is a lot more heartburn, and he actually seems to have a lot more hair than my daughter did. So we'll find out in a couple weeks what's going on with that. So yeah, just heartburn, especially at night when I lay down. I have to take some kind of Tums or I'm just miserable, absolutely miserable. The other thing that's come back for me in the third trimester are my migraines. I usually get them pretty bad all through the first trimester as like that big surge of like hormones is going through your body, and they are back again. I've had actually 2 or 3 in the last week. And the thing about my migraines is I also get the, it's visual for me. So I lose my vision, and that makes it impossible for me to work. It makes it impossible for me to get on the computer until that kind of goes by. And then I get what's called like a migraine hangover, where you literally feel like you have a hangover, your head hurts. And, you know, it's like the best way I could describe it, excuse me, it's like the electrical system in my body just kind of goes haywire and goes nuts. And I can't process, I can't read, I can't, I have a hard time forming sentences. It's very strange. So that's fun. And that's been happening a lot more. You can hear me. I'm like also having the indigestion going on right now as well. So that's going on. I am at a place right now where I'm just uncomfortable. Like if I sit here at the desk too long, my feet are going to get super swollen. If I stand up too long or walk too much, I'm going to get super swollen. In bed, I toss and turn all night long. I go from my left side to my back for a little bit to my right side. And I do that multiple times a night, and I have to like use pillows, and I'm just kind of at the place where everything just feels miserable. Like I feel so uncomfortable. Getting down on the floor is like, yeah, no, like I cannot do that. And I usually have to get on the floor in my daughter's room to put her to bed because her bed is low. And that's miserable now. That's super uncomfortable. Just, I'm at that point where like, if I'm at the store and I drop something, sorry, I can't pick it up. Like I can't be bothered. I kind of like look at it and I'm like, look around. Okay, gotta go. Cause bending over is almost like just, it's painful. Cause my stomach is huge. It has gotten huge. And this baby he's a big guy. And I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit too. So swelling for sure. Like I'm not wearing any of my rings. You guys know I'm always wearing like my wedding rings and my other right hand rings, and my fingers are super swollen. I did manage to get my wedding rings on for my maternity shoot, which was about a month ago now. So I did have that done. I have posted some of those on my Instagram, which I'm at Irresistible Icing if you want to head over there. I'm going to be posting more of those this week as well. So we had our maternity shoot. It was beautiful. It was fun. Of course, Chewy was there, our Chihuahua, the whole family. So those are done. And we did also do a 3D ultrasound, 3D/4D ultrasound, which is something that you do extra. You have to pay out of pocket for that. It's more of a boutique type of thing. It's not through your doctor or your doctor's office. And we did this with my daughter because we wanted to see her in 3D, 4D. And we wanted to see our son as well. But one of the main reasons that we did that this time around was so that my husband and my daughter could come and see him too, because they haven't been to any appointments. I mean, zero. There is not one appointment or ultrasound that my husband and daughter have been able to come with me to. I shared a lot about that in my, what it's like to be pregnant in a pandemic video. And that has been really hard because it makes things feel even more alone and isolating, where in the past, when I had my daughter, my husband, he didn't miss any appointments. He was always there. And we had like this routine that we would do together and go out to lunch and go shopping and the whole nine. And this time around, it's just different. And it already feels very isolating with the way of the world at the moment. And being pregnant and not having people around is really hard. And especially not having your husband and your kids, with you when you go to these appointments. So I do recommend, if you're watching this and we're still in the midst of, these times where you can't bring anybody with you, I would definitely recommend the investment into a 3D 4D ultrasound at one of these boutique places, because that's just a special moment that you can't get it back, right? You can't get that moment back. And so I think it's really nice to have those memories, and you get the pictures, and they have different packages depending on where you go and such. So I definitely recommend it. And I think once my husband could come with me, not that he's not, I mean, he's like super invested, super engaged with what's happening, but I definitely have noticed it's been different for him too, because he's not able to go to all these appointments and see things and hear things firsthand. And I think that really helped him make a bigger connection to his son. And so I think, if you can afford it, I recommend it. Like, please do it all day long. I would recommend it. So we've done that. We've done our maternity photos, all the typical things. The one thing, obviously, and I shared this, go back and watch the pandemic video. We're not having a baby shower because, hello, COVID. And that's sad too, because I was thinking about how, like, at this point with my daughter, I had 2 baby showers. I had one that was like kind of like a work thing that we did at the annual conference I used to help plan and run. And then we had one locally. And, it seems like a little thing, but it's like, I feel for the moms that are going through this, that are first time moms, because they are missing out on things that, if they don't have more kids, they may never experience this. So I'm at least grateful that I've had those experiences, my first pregnancy. And while it's sad and it's, it's different, it's just, it is what it is at this point. And I can't dwell on it, right? It's just, it is what it is. So there will not be a baby shower this time around. And, it's just what it is, right? Like, this is where we're at. And, things are just different. Things are very, very different as we move through this. And what I do want to share with you is some other things too. So I didn't know if I wanted to share this publicly or not. And sometimes when I'm going through something, I need to let it settle in before I'm ready to share it with anyone else. And I thought, if I have this plus size pregnancy series and I don't share this, then I'm doing a disservice to other people. And I know that this could help someone else that's going through a similar situation. So at 28 weeks, when you are pregnant, you go in and you have what's called a glucose test. And that's to see if you have gestational diabetes. Gestational diabetes is diabetes that is brought on from the hormones in your placenta. It is very common in pregnancy. And at 28 weeks, I took my test. As soon as I saw my phone ringing on Monday, I already knew. I was like, I got it, because otherwise they wouldn't be calling you. And so the doctor called me and told me, you failed your test. You failed it so bad that we're not even going to have you come in and take a 3-hour. Usually you'll come back and do a 3-hour test. And so we're just going to go ahead and diagnose you and get you started on this. So when I first got the call, I was in tears. I felt devastated. I felt like a failure. I felt like I was a bad mom. I felt like I had let my baby down, and I allowed myself to kind of have a pity party for a couple hours. And then I immediately just was like, okay, because then they don't even get you in for an appointment for like a week or 2, which is so stupid, right? If you have this condition. So I already kind of knew I need to go to work on what do I need to eat? How do I need to make these changes? And I can do it now. I'm not going to sit around and wait for an appointment for someone to tell me. I know how to eat clean. And so I immediately just started eating like a diabetic would. High protein, low carb, no processed foods, no high sugary stuff, all of that kind of stuff. And I have to take my blood sugars 4 times a day. So I'm eating very clean, taking blood sugar 4 times a day after every meal, and then once in the morning when I wake up. And I have been able to control everything with diet and lifestyle and exercise. I do a lot of walking. And the only number that has been kind of like borderline for me, and it's still not, it's only like 5 to 10 points over what it should be, is my morning fasting numbers. So I tried lots of different things to eat, just different things. And that number wasn't coming down. And so they actually ended up putting me on insulin in the evening. So yes, I have to inject myself with insulin at night. So that's five needles a day. So I'm like, let this kid talk back to me one day. Okay. Right. And I'm going to remember all of this. So I have to do insulin at night. It's a very small amount. It's actually not as bad as it sounds. And that's just where I'm at. Like, of course, being a plus size pregnancy, one of the first things I wanted to do was to blame myself and to blame my weight. And maybe I wasn't eating good enough. And, I didn't bring any of that up to the doctor, but they told me, they're like, this is nothing that you did. You do not eat your way into gestational diabetes. This is hormonal. All it means is that your placenta is producing, I don't know if it's too many or not enough hormones. I'm not going to get into the science of it, but it's like, this is all coming from your placenta. The moment that placenta and that baby comes out of you, in most cases, the diabetes goes away. There's a small percentage of women that will continue to have like type 2 diabetes after, but in most cases that is not true. So, when I look at it that way, it was easier to digest. And I was like, you're right. Because for the most part, I have been eating okay. But I also have been eating a lot of carbs and high sugar things as well. And I hate to say this, but in a really, really weird way, I almost feel like getting this diagnosis kind of saved my pregnancy, in the sense that my depression has almost completely gone away. I stopped gaining weight. I actually stopped gaining weight when I first got the diagnosis. Right now, the weight is like I have to go to an appointment twice a week right now, because I'm at the end. Plus I have to be monitored with a non-stress test because I'm on insulin. And sometimes I go in, I'm down 2 pounds. Then the next day I'm up 2 pounds because my fluids and my swelling is starting to increase. And so, but other than that, like I actually lost weight once I got gestational diabetes, and I started taking better care of myself, diet wise, and getting my walks in more frequently and all of that. So, I hate saying this, but like, it just is what it is. It happens. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you got it because of your weight. It just happens. There are women that are marathon runners that have always been fit and healthy and thin, and they get gestational diabetes. So it's hormonal. That's what it has to do with. And so if you're going through that, I just want you to know that, and like feel at ease that you're not a failure. You haven't done anything wrong. This is just something that happens, and it's okay. So I was due for my C-section on November 4th. And last week I was put in the hospital because when I went in for my appointment, for the first time, this happened with my daughter, all my blood pressures have been perfect, within range. Last week they were elevated. I had headaches. I had blurry vision, super swollen feet and hands. So they sent me to the hospital for extra blood pressures and lab work, and I went home and everything was good. I checked out fine. So because I'm starting to show signs of increased blood pressure, and with the gestational diabetes, there is that fear that it could eventually turn into preeclampsia. They have bumped my C-section up by 1 week. So right now my baby's due October 28th. He's going to be another October baby, which I knew that was going to be the case. I absolutely knew it was going to be the case. My daughter was scheduled for 11/3. My son was scheduled for 11/4. My daughter came 10/21, and this guy is right now coming 10/28, with the caveat that, like, I have an appointment today. I could go in today, and if my blood pressures were super high, and if I was showing all the swelling and all these symptoms, he's coming today. If that is a possibility. So I mentally am prepared, physically prepared with the hospital bag, the whole nine, that, between now and the 28th, things could escalate. So that is a possibility. I'm hoping he stays in there. My daughter's birthday is next week. I'm like, let me just get to her birthday on the 21st, and then whatever happens between the 22nd and the 28th, whatever. Just as long as he is healthy and happy, and we're all doing good. So I have less than 2 weeks to go as of this video, which is crazy, you guys. Absolutely crazy. And I don't know if you can see. I'm going to show you. Look at that thing. Look at that belly. Oh my goodness. So that is the belly. It's ginormous. He is still in there cooking. He's already over 7 pounds. My daughter was 7'3" when she was born, so he's going to be a lot bigger. So I'm like, let me lay off the newborn size clothes that I've been buying, because I'm not going to need those. But other than that, I feel really good. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I am, taking really good care of myself, taking it easy as much as possible. And we're just ready to meet him. I'm ready to meet him, and I'm also terrified of how it changes our family dynamic. I know once he's here, it's going to feel great, and it's going to feel whole and complete. But then there's that fear of like, this might be the last time that it's just my husband and my daughter and Chewy. And I remember feeling the same way before she came, where I was like, it was just me, Frank, and Chewy, and now we have this other person. So it'll be fine. Those are normal feelings that everybody goes through. So I think that's about it for now. I'm going to leave it on that note. That is my update. I don't know if I'll be doing another pregnancy video between now and the end of October. So the next time you see me, I may be with a new little, and so I'll let you guys see him. But you can continue to follow me on Instagram. I share a lot more behind the scenes, what's going on, not only just with Irresistible University, but with our family as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Stay irresistible. Bye, guys.